Good morning, Roll Gang, and welcome on inside to another episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. It is a mid-week mailbag episode, which means it is time to answer this week's questions that we collected from the Roll Gang so that we can chat up about some cannabis content here on this Wednesday morning, break down some herb, blaze it up with you guys just like we do every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific time on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I am so excited to get on into my favorite THC percentage and favorite strain. I even have a question about my favorite smoke spot in Vegas. So if you guys are looking to find a little nook on the Las Vegas Strip, make sure to tune in. This is the episode for you guys, about you guys. If you have any questions throughout the show, make sure to hit the comments on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, because this show is for you guys at the end of the day. It is great to see you this morning. Absolutely beautiful morning here in Las Vegas, Nevada for another episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. So without further ado, I'm going to give a quick shout out to the sponsors of the show just while I roll up my herb, just like every weekday morning here on the Weekday Wake and Bake. Huge shout out, everybody tapping in. Jordan, what's popping on Instagram? Twitter, what's happening? I got most of my questions on this midweek mailbag from Twitter, so really excited to answer the Roll Gangsters Twitter questions. But first and foremost, this episode is brought to you by Oaksterdam University, the first ever cannabis college. If you guys are trying to boost your knowledge on this budding industry and be able to put definitive proof that you put effort and you actually invested in your own cannabis knowledge on your resume, Oaksterdam University is the best way to do it. Boost your cannabis knowledge today. Go to Oaksterdam University to learn about cannabis and use promo code Rolling Spoon to get 10% off your tuition at the first ever cannabis college. And on Saturday, September 24th, Oaksterdam's in-person school with labs and great, unbelievable professors in person will be reopening for the public Saturday, September 24th, and your professor will be there with my dad. Actually, Papa Processor will be there too, and we're gonna be running the Rolling Spoon booth at the red carpet event, Fox Theater, Oakland, California. So this episode is also brought to you by the Rolling Spoon Cannabis Multi-Tool, helping me to roll a dime every time. Gotta use the straight edge to help roll that cigarette form. I actually have a question about the cigarette style joint on the show. Maybe I should address it now. At Dark Knight Stoner. Shout out at Dark Knight Stoner on Twitter for a great question. How do I roll a cigarette style joint like that? So yeah, great fucking question. Huge misconception. It's easier and better to roll a cone. Cone shaped, it's actually a lot easier to roll a cone shape for sure. But I don't like to pull a big ember through a small hole. And I'd rather the joint be evenly distributed throughout the entirety of the smoke. So really, I try to put in the herb evenly throughout the entire joint. I use the straight edge on my rolling spoon to make sure that it's perfectly straight with my guide. And then I try to catch the tuck the whole entire way down the joint at once, you know? So then whenever I get the gum strip, the whole gum strip is exposed at one time. Lick it and stick it. That is the ticket to rolling these cigarette-style joints, you know? Gotta love a nice little ciggy look right there. Not really conial, a little bit conial, more than I normally do. I try to make them as even as I possibly can, but roll gang, it's really good practice to try to roll cigarette-shaped joints. Then you can also use your rolling spoon to fold down the edges on top, poke it down, and then fold down the edges. It makes this super even spark. So whenever you light this part on fire, it'll catch. And then the airflow, pull the ember right through. Wow, let's go. We're lit here on this midweek mailbag episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. Hope you guys are getting lit too. Hope you rolled up, getting ready for a midweek mailbag episode of the show. Second question. First question came from @DarkKnightStoner, NITE, @DarkKnightStoner. How do I roll a cigarette-style joint like that? It really helps to have the rolling spoon and specifically the straight edge so that you can make it nice and straight. Next question comes from @Baba420. So Baba420 says, how stoned are you? So at the time when answering, I was probably stoned at the time I received the question, but this morning, this is actually my first smoke of the day, so I'm actually in the process of getting stoned at Baba420, but I really appreciate you tapping in, starting off this midweek mailbag episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake. The next question comes from @TypoAnon. So TypoAnon says, what THC percentage do you normally shop for? Great question that I've not gotten to address on the show before. What THC percentage do you normally shop for? So I actually enjoy an array of cannabinoids. I disagree with how the market is breeding for THC percentage. The stuff I'm smoking right now is probably 12 to 14% THC. Really, really, subtle smoke. But it also has some CBN, some CBG, high-end amount of terps. You know, it's not just about THC, and honestly, the lower the THC percentage, the cheaper it is too, most of the time. So I kind of buy some outdoor Cali weed. I'm smoking on some gelato this morning. Perfect joint of some gelato from Cali. And probably, like 12 to 14%, $1 a gram range. That's the type of THC percentage I shop for. Obviously, I like to smoke higher THC percentage, but I honestly like how these ones burn better. You know what I mean? It's not as resin thick. You know, it's more evenly distributed plant matter to resin, if that makes sense. But shout out @TypoAnon. What THC percentage do you normally shop for? Normally some 10 to 15% range. Really, really enjoyed that question. Next question comes from @KutoSupreme. @KutoSupreme on Twitter. KUTO Supreme says, do you watch any anime? I absolutely love this question. Do you watch any anime? I actually do. Not very much. I watch one anime, but I have a lot of friends that are really into anime and want to check out a real one. I've never actually watched a real anime, but my favorite one, I have seen every single episode of Pokemon, the anime series. I love Pokemon. It's a show with only positive vibes. Super PVO, positive vibes only. Unbelievable ending every single episode. You know, maybe a little similar to other episodes every time, maybe a little bit monotonous, but it's my favorite place to derive some positive energy from, some goofy energy. Love to flick on Pokemon if you're looking for a show that always ends happy. You know, I mean, it's kind of tough to live like that, but I'm trying to have PVO in my life. You know, I'm trying to get to know PVO. And, you know, Pokemon is a great PVO show. So, I don't watch any other animes other than that yet. I'm a big anime fan. I think it's a huge part of the future for sure because anime is just getting better and better. But shout out Kuto Supreme for the question. Do you watch any anime? Yeah, I watch hella Pokemon. Absolutely love the question. I appreciate it. Yo, shout out Mercedington, rolling up with you. Let's fucking go. Absolutely love it, Mercedington. Super hyped to sesh with you this Wednesday morning. Shout out Holy Colas, $420 for a plastic spoon. Yo, huge misconception. Sorry that honestly happens too much. Super young business here. Hang with me, Holy Colas. But it's actually $420 for 1,000 plastic spoons. So $420, you get your own logo. Like this is Oaksterdam's, Medicine, a great dispensary here in Vegas. So they spend $420 on 1,000 spoons with their own logo on it. So it's really only 42 cents per spoon. But huge shout out Holy Colas on Instagram for that question. That's a really good one, and I appreciated the opportunity to answer that really quick. At Holy Colas on Instagram, at Mercedington, the absolute OG. My son watches One Piece and Naruto. Yo, absolutely love that. Great animes. Shout out at Pistol Pete 4200. Good morning, fam. Good morning back at you, Pistol Pete. We are just answering some mailbag questions from the Roll Gangers on Twitter. Got a bunch of great ones so far. We're about halfway through. But before I get on into this amazing question from Green Goddess Genetics, shout out to the Rolling Spoon, the original cannabis multi-tool. Use it to roll a dime every time, just like every weekday morning here on the Weekday Wake and Bake. It is great to see you guys. Shout out Mercedington rolling up with me. Hope you're using your Rolling Spoon, Mercedington. Great to hear from everybody. So shout out at Green Goddess Genetics on Twitter. What is your favorite strain? So honestly, what a question. What is your favorite strain? I've had the opportunity to answer this before. So I'm going to go short story, then long story. Short story, super sour diesel. You know, it's my favorite strain. I had one bag of it one time that changed my life. And I named my company, the gas station, after it. And absolutely love some good super sour D. But honestly, I don't really give a fuck about the strain. Swear to God, like I love a great terpene profile, but I don't care about the terpene profile. I love a good THC cannabinoid content, but I don't really care. I want to roll it and have an experiential smoke. You know, whatever I spark and it has flavor. You know, it doesn't taste burnt. It has actual terpene flavor, whether it's orangey, gassy, you know, hazy, cushy, fruity, all that. You got myrcene, linalool, floral, all these different types of flavors. If it tastes good, I'm in. Whether it's potent or not, if it tastes good, burns clean, I'm in. And that's my favorite strain. Strains are so different depending on who is cultivating that strain. Some dude is growing super sour diesel, my favorite strain, like shit. And I would hate that super sour diesel, But it's a matter of cultivation and cultivar / strain name. And, strains are so murky nowadays. They get rebranded all the time, so you never really know what you're getting. But my favorite strain, Super Sour D. But really, I could give a fuck about the strain. Just give me some good smoke. You know what I mean? Go into a dispensary and ask the bud tenders what burns clean. You'll be the happiest with what you get. They know what they're talking about, and really, strain testing percentage, it all doesn't matter compared to the entourage effect. The effect you get when you're consuming. That extra feeling of happiness or satisfaction or creativity or lucidity, So what's my favorite strain? Super Sour D, one specific, amazingly cultivated bag, but I'll never have that Super Sour D again. So really, I don't know. That was my favorite strain ever, but we'll see. I hope someday it gets broken. So huge shout out at Green Goddess Genetics. Pretty great genetics company. I would love to try everything you got, but at Green Goddess Genetics on Twitter with a banger question, what's your favorite strain? So the next one, before I get on into it, Pistol Pete says, I like all the OGs. Yeah, Kush smokes great. Mercedington, yes, use the spoon every time, sir. Hell yeah. And Mercedington, she agrees with Pistol Pete on the OGs. Gotta love OGs. The ocean-grown, well-cultivated, classic OG Kush smell. The OGs, all those Kushes. If you've ever, I don't know, Pistol Pete and Mercedington, if you ever tried 3 Times Crazy, it's OG Kush, Bubba Kush, and Granddaddy Perp cross. That's one of my other favorite strains. That's my favorite OG cross that I've ever had. Just funky as shit. 3 Times Crazy, 3X. But Mercedington says her favorite strain when she first started smoking was called Telephone, since no one was able to find it. That's funny. I love that. Telephone. But, huge shout out Green Goddess Genetics. Great genetics company for the question. The next question comes from @Tommy232. What is your favorite smoke spot in Vegas? What a plug. Giving me the opportunity to, because I love to explore, and I have found some dank smoke spots. So if you guys are willing to travel or drive, one of my favorite smoke spots is a little drive, Blue Diamond. There's this little park-off spot where you get this unbelievable view of the desert. It's just absolutely spectacular. In Vegas, it's always fun to actually walk on the strip. You can get super high up in the parking garages. It's a classic. But my favorite smoke spot in Vegas. So if you go into Caesar's Palace, it's this absolute mammoth of a building. But follow the signs to the convention center. Go up to the second floor and follow it the entire way around. You have to walk super far straight and then you hang a left. But walking this far out of the way is the moat in between this beautiful island of a smoke spot that there's never anybody at. It's this porch overlooking the pool. And it's for smoking, it's a smoking porch, but nobody knows it's there. And basically what I do, a shit ton here in Vegas is I go walk through the casinos. I end up on that porch. I smoke a quick joint. I take the elevator down to the pool. I do a few laps in the pool, and then I walk home. Great smoke spot. Great way to people watch and get stoned. And, you know, you can honestly pub that up, blow that up, because it's a really good time for free. Just walk into Caesars, walk up to this amazing smoke spot porch, watch all the people swimming, a bunch of hot individuals, a bunch of not so hot individuals, mostly, but it's honestly a good time for sure. Let me know if anybody wants to roll through. It'd be fun to go have that sesh with somebody sometime. Shout out at Tommy232, favorite smoke spot in Vegas. The smoking porch at Caesars, yo. It's actually super lit. So the last question here on this midweek mailbag episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake comes from at Lil, L-I-L, at Lil Rock Stoner. Absolutely love the name. Lil Rock Stoner. Lil Rock, Arkansas, too. When do you think marijuana will be legal in Arkansas? And honestly, I did use the specific verbiage. When do you think marijuana will be legal in Arkansas? Guys, you know, it's a super baby industry, and a lot of people don't understand or know this, but this is an extremely important point of emphasis in this industry, you know? The term marijuana has racist roots, you know? The term marijuana started to get thrown around during the criminalization of this beautiful plant to try and target specific racial groups for, to get them in trouble and make it sound worse so that the government could incarcerate them. Marijuana is slightly racist, derogatory term. And honestly, it's not just Lil Rock Stoner. There's a lot of stoners out there that still use it. I just encourage you, if you support the plant, cannabis, pot, herb, if you have to use weed, all better than marijuana. We're just trying to eliminate the term marijuana. We're trying to eliminate the term recreational in favor of adult use, you know. Just little trinkets of information that'll make worlds of difference in the industry moving forward. Let's try not to use the term marijuana. Actually, at the Chamber of Cannabis event, which was amazing, huge shout out to Chamber of Cannabis, but there were 11 electoral candidates up for the upcoming election in November, and a lot of them were using the terms marijuana. And I think that there's just not enough education. There's not been enough of a push to get the term marijuana out of this industry. But let's favor better words. Cannabis is great. Canna, pot, herb, you know, let's stick to those. It's an absolute baby industry. So, like, we're kind of trying to work and evolve as it moves forward, but let's try to remove marijuana just because of such derogatory and racist roots. And let's try to remove recreational too. You know, let's prefer adult use, because there's medicinal people that use it for medicine, and adult use. You know, you have to be an adult to consume properly. But huge shout out, Phil Sky, that's Graham. What's up, Graham? Tuning in. My Grammy says you should have a real trip with the process. I'm not really quite sure what that means, Graham, but let me know. Hey, Don Solo, love it when you join with me. Yo, Mercedington and Don Solo tuning in. Absolutely great to sesh with you guys, as always, but the last question, at Lil Rock Stoner, I'm going to change the verbiage of your question now so that I can answer it. When do you think cannabis will be legal in Arkansas? So honestly, guys, you know, everybody shoots the like 3-year, 5-year, 1-year predictions, and They're just perpetual at this point. I like to think of it more like a wave, you know? The United States is on this cannabis wave. And out in California and Nevada, the wave has already started to crash. And as the ripple works down the wave, the whole wave will crash eventually, and then it'll go to shore and the whole country will be legal. But that white stuff on top of the wave, you know, when right before it curls and bends over, that's our whole country right now. It's all bubbling up and really ready to just crash on this baby. We're gonna, I mean, you know, it's unpredictable to when specifically the wave is actually going to crash and the industry is going to be fully legal, and those bubbles will actually curl, the bubbles of the cannabis wave. But honestly, if I had to take a guess, because I'm not gonna shy away from the question, Lil Rock Stoner, in 18 months, I'm 95% confident there will be legalized cannabis to a certain extent in Arkansas, you know, for adult use in 18 months. So hold it out. Lil Rock Stoner, huge shout out to @LilRockStoner, @Tommy232, @GreenGoddessGenetics, Kuto Supreme, Dark Knight Stoner, Typo Anon, and Baba420 for the amazing questions on today's episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake Midweek Mailbag Edition. It has been an absolute pleasure hopping on and smoking with you guys just like every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Brought to you by the Rolling Spoon and Oaksterdam University. Use promo code Rolling Spoon, one word, for 10% off your cannabis industry education. And really, really a pleasure to see you guys. Super excited for tomorrow's episode. I think I have an amazing, energetic specimen. Super talented, super charismatic. My girl Astrid with Floor Cannabis coming on the show tomorrow. Super excited to have a really awesome chick join me on the Weekday Wake and Bake for Floors Day. Thursday, Floors Day, baby. So shout out everybody tuning in. Chuck XIX. I'm in the Nevada wave. Thanks for the knowledge, yo. Thank you, Chuck_XIX for tuning in. Shout out Don Solo and Mercedington. Appreciate everybody tuning in on the show. It's an absolute pleasure. No cap in here. I just love to. We're all wake and baking anyway. We're all stoners. It's stoner law. We have awoke, so now we smoke. So, might as well do it together. Love tapping in with you guys and blazing up a nice joint ski on the Weekday Wake and Bake. Shout out Astrid tomorrow. Make sure you guys tune in. It's going to be an absolute banger with my girl Astrid. So don't want to miss that, but super excited to dive into her journey into the industry and what she does for Fleur Cannabis. Guys, I hope we get to smoke some on the show tomorrow. It's some of the cleanest smoke I've ever had. I was just at the cultivation for a tour. No-till soil. The most recycling process with clean nutrients, clean soil, unbelievable genetics, just so much passion and care. Family-run organization. Huge shout-out Evan Matrix for making the tour happen. It's going to be an awesome Fleur. I'm going to have some reels coming out with Fleur, so super excited to partner up with them. Shout out Ty Hudson tapping in. Huge shout out to everybody who tapped in this morning. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. You guys are all the shit. Every weekday morning, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Let's blaze one, roll gang. Love you guys so much. For this midweek mailbag episode of the Weekday Wake and Bake, your Processor Sky. I hope you have a great fucking hump day, roll gang. Let's get after it. Come on. Tomorrow's